Welcome back, everyone. Here today to tell you another scary story. So get comfy and let's just get right into it. In 1872, sailors discovered a ship drifting in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The ship was called the Mary Celeste, and it was in perfect sailing condition, but there was no sign of its crew anywhere. And even more bizarre, it seemed like they had vanished without a trace. There were no signs of struggle, no lifeboats, and yet they didn't seem to be in any danger. The cargo was untouched. Food and water were still on board, and the sails were up as if the crew had just set off and suddenly disappeared. It's one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time, and to this day, no one knows what really happened to the Mary Celeste and its crew. It was a routine voyage that turned into a nightmare. The Mary Celeste left New York on November 7, 1872, bound for Gibraltar with a cargo of industrial alcohol. On board were 10 people, including Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife and 2 daughters, plus 8 crew members. Life was probably pretty cozy aboard the ship. Back then, many merchant ships were basically like floating homes for the crew, especially for the captain and his family who had a nice cabin with plenty of room. Imagine sipping hot cocoa while rocking gently on the waves, listening to the wind and the seagulls, maybe reading a book or playing a card game. The steady rhythm of the ocean could lull you into a peaceful state and make you feel like you had all the time in the world. At least that was probably what life was like for the passengers and crew of the Mary Celeste as they set sail for their destination almost a month away. But the idyllic voyage soon became a terrifying ordeal. On December, the Mary Celeste was sighted off the coast of Portugal, nearly 600 miles from its expected route. It was a Sunday morning, and the ship was in perfect condition, but there was no sign of the crew anywhere. The cargo of alcohol was still on board, the barrels tightly sealed, the hatches tightly battened down, and the ship's logbook was missing. The only indication that anyone had been on board recently was a half-eaten meal in the galley. What had happened to the crew? Had they abandoned ship? But why? The weather was calm. There was no indication of a storm or other disaster. One of the first theories was that the crew panicked when they saw a massive wave approaching, and some of them may have been washed overboard. This could explain why there was no sign of a struggle and the ship was still in good condition. However, this theory was quickly ruled out as there was no evidence of a storm, and a single lifeboat was still in its place, suggesting that nobody had fallen overboard. Another theory was that the Mary Celeste encountered a seaquake, which can cause massive waves and sink ships in minutes. This could have caused panic among the crew, leading to the mysterious disappearance. But this theory was also ruled out as there was no damage to the ship and the cargo was still intact. Then came the most popular theory, that the crew abandoned ship because they feared the ship would explode. Back then, industrial alcohol was often contaminated with acetone, which is highly flammable. If the fumes built up in the cargo hold, they could have ignited and caused an explosion. But this theory doesn't explain why the barrels weren't open to air out the cargo or why the crew didn't try to put out the fire. Another strange detail is that a lifeboat was scheduled for the same day the Mary Celeste was found, but it was canceled for unknown reasons. This could mean that the crew had planned to abandon ship and sent a signal for help, but we'll never know for sure. The most outlandish theory is that pirates took the crew, but this doesn't make much sense either. The pirates probably would have stolen some of the cargo and there was no sign of a struggle. It's possible that pirates attacked and killed the crew, but stole nothing because they didn't know about the alcohol cargo. Some believe that the Mary Celeste may have been the victim of a paranormal event, perhaps a curse. Legends say that the ship was haunted by the ghost of a young girl who drowned off the coast of Africa. Some say the ghost appeared to the crew, warning them of an impending disaster. Others say the ghost simply wanted to return to the sea. Whatever the reason, the ghost may have caused the crew to abandon ship or even taken them with her. There are also theories that aliens abducted the crew, but there's no evidence to support this. Some say the crew joined an intergalactic voyage, leaving Earth forever, but this is obviously not true. The truth is, to this day, The mystery of the Mary Celeste remains unsolved. Was it a natural disaster, human error, or something darker? We may never know. Thanks so much for watching. Now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below what you think happened on the Mary Celeste. Did the crew flee in terror when they thought their ship was going to explode? Or was there a more sinister reason for their disappearance? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more spooky stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep an eye out for ghosts, especially on old ships.